Such Brooks, I haven't been recording. Haha!
All around me are familiar faces.
What is going on? Oh, f off, like, it's not in face. What is going on, guys? So today I'm going to be breaking down a coop slash nami slash soul type sample. These samples seem to be really popular at the minute, so I just thought I'd show my interpolation of it. But before we get into it, if you'd like to follow me on social media, links will be in the description. You don't have to, but you can. And yeah, let's get into the video. So yeah, this is a pretty extensive project, as you can see. I've probably gone a little bit overboard. You probably don't need this amount of layers and stuff. So in an effort to make this a little more organized, I've split it into layers, which is sort of like, so we have chordal features here, like just chords. Then we have the melodic, like, textural elements, just like little hits every now and again. And then we have the percussive and the bass. So yeah, it just should make this a little more simple. So it started off with an Omnisphere Wing Upright Mono Dark. I didn't do anything to the preset in here. And I just played these chords with these passing notes. The chords are on screen. So in terms of effects on the piano, before any effects it sounded like this. After. So I have a shaper box doing this little filter mix thing, and that's it. Took the mix down to 42%. Next, I added a Valhalla delay with a digital reso flanger. A lot of coop samples have a lot of like flanger elements to them, which gives it sort of that like wishy-washy sound. You know what I'm saying? A CLA 76 just to compress the audio, and an EQ just to do what it's doing. And I also put this in mono just because why not? So that was the basis for all this. The rest of the chordal parts were just layering these initial chords. So the next thing I added was this Analog Lab 5 Mood of the 80s preset from Louis Flynn's Astral Bank, and just laid the piano with the same chords. Just a couple of inversions there. Before it sounded like this. So the effect on this is just a shaper box just to like sidechain it. So then the piano hits and it has room for the synth to hit. The next layer was another layer in synth, another Astral preset called Habit. Pre-effects, it sounded like this. So what I did was put a shaper box on it with this weird ass pattern I created myself.
You know, I'm a creative genius and there's no other way to word it.
EQ just to take out highs and lows. So as you can see, there's like room for every element so far. Next was the crib preset from Astral yet again. Just offset the chords, plays this. Exact same chords. In terms of effects, a one knob filter just to low pass it. A Valhalla delay just to add some delay.
What are you?
An idiot sandwich.
And an EQ just to cut out the highs. So the last chordal element I added was just a sine from XY Nothing's new one-shot kit called Movements In. And it just plays the chords yet again. This is all just really layering at this stage. Effects on this is a shaper box with just this pattern, just so it sidechains it again. Flanges, like I said, Coop uses it a lot in his samples. And then Echo Boy with the wet slapback heaven, I just turned it down halfway. Before effects. After. So all the chordal elements together sound like this. Then I just have different layers taken out. The next section was sort of like melodic accent section. All these are one shots. So I started off with this Kalimba tape preset from XY Nothing one shot kit yet again. And this just highlights the chords, like this was the first chord, etc. On this, just the Valhalla delay, digital resolve flanger, which is a great preset for making the coop style samples. Layered it with an Alhug one shot called Whistle. Nothing on this one, not even an EQ. A vibraphone from XY Nothing one shot kit. Pretty Flanges and an Echo Boy with the warped old cassette preset. Trem Whirly pedal board from CoopTheTruth. So you can see it's just adding like melodic textures to it. Last is this. Next are just these vocal one shots from an Alhug pack. So processing was very minimal with those melodic textures, just really EQing, maybe a delay or something. Now with the Alhug vocals, we have a flanges, a chorus, a phaser, and an EQ, just this, just to take out highs and lows. Then we have another vocal from XY Nothing kit. Auto-tune, little alter boy, ambience, rooted delay, just turned down. Flanges again, just because coop, and the same EQ as before. So melodic elements with the vocals. And these just run all the way through the sample. So the melodic textures really just accent the chords, and the chords and the melodic textures together sound like this. The next was the percussive element. So I have an only one perk loop, phaser, flanges, and an EQ. I also have this XY Nothing little percussion thing here, which I just laid down. And another XY Nothing percussion loop. On these, I just have an EQ. So very minimal on the percussion, and it is very low in volume also, because you don't want it to get in the way of like drums that someone's going to put on. So now we have 3 layers. We have the chords, the melodic textures, and the percussion textures, and together they sound like this. The last thing I did was a Contact Scarby Rickenbacker bass. I just messed with the amp settings a touch, and it's the par muted version. And this is the pattern I played. Tried to make it sound as much like a real bass as possible. So it just follows up the chords and follows up the scale here. And then I did this little passing note, which isn't actually in key, but sounds cool. And little trills and stuff here, and then this da-da-da. So it just sounds like a live bass to me. So to the bass, I had a micro shift with a slap bass preset and an EQ just to cut out some of the highs. So that is the sample all together. So what I would do in arrangement is I would have a section like that, a section with the bass constantly playing, and a section with the bass not playing at all, just for more differentiation for whoever's flipping the sample. So the reason I leave a part with the bass fully in is because when you do EQ it and you cut out the lows and stuff, the bass is still like a nice melodic element to the beat, like it's still there in like the higher frequencies. So last of all, I have the rendered out sample here, put reels on it. And finally, last of all, a CLA 2A just to compress the levels. So this will be it then. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave the download link for this sample in the description. You can go download it and flip it and send it back or whatever. So that is how I would make soul-like samples in the style of like CoopTheTruth. Please like and subscribe if you have enjoyed, and comment down below because it really helps the channel. And yeah, I'll catch you in the next one.